Alright, welcome back everybody. So this is from earlier in the playtest, whenever I still had one of my first sets of mini-boss gear. Um, all my stats should be around 25 area. They, mostly I think that comes from +1 all gear in almost every slot. So last playtest, I think I definitely undervalued plus all gear in favor of just raw damage or whatever. You can see there my strength is 30, so it kind of trickles down from there. 27 agility, just really high numbers. I grossly underestimated how useful plus all is. I think last playtest it was possible to get up to +3 all on any item, but in this playtest, I only ever saw +1s, except on two-handed. Those I think went up to +2, maybe 3, but I don't know that I saw that. I don't know that I ever had a plus all two-handed weapon, except for maybe a bow. I'm not really positive. But because I have my mini boss set of gear and can comfortably fight the skeleton champions, I like to fight them as much as I can. They're definitely a dangerous monster, but they're also very beatable if you don't have a lot of loot. I guess gear, that is. If you have gear, it just makes it a lot easier. So, I'm also running the falchion and shield heater. So, that's the combo that I feel like I'm best with. It's definitely it's a lot lower skill than a longsword, but that's the combo I have. I think it's the most effective, and it's also pretty fun. I really like falchions. I think it's a cool weapon. And I downed that first one. We saw there we didn't get a whole lot of loot. Didn't take a whole lot of damage, because my damage reduction is somewhere around 80% at this point, I think. And then my health, I think, was at around 130. You can rewind a little bit and look if you want to. But with a shield, it's really easy to beat most monsters. The attack patterns, once you understand them, it's really simple. I think that later in the game's lifespan, whenever more players are just better at combat, um, it'll probably change I hate to say the meta, but a lot less players will be dying to monsters. Unless I have basically zero gear, I'm not dying to monsters terribly often. And, you know, if I were to die to a monster, there's probably some outside factor that makes it, you know, possible for me to lose to a monster. And so, you know, as players just simply get better, we'll probably be seeing more and more people fighting every single monster, like none of them are anything. Players, however, they vary so much that, you know, some players super dangerous, some players just aren't. But we keep making our way through, and I'm coming in here looking for the other skeleton champion. But first, gotta take care of those goblins. I'm getting a little low on these throwing items. I think at this point, I only have a few throwing knives left. I can't imagine they're very good, but it's what I have. And the throwing knives are going to become important in just a little bit. So we were lucky enough to have this skeleton champion put down that first goblin. And I come in, finish him off. I say a lot, they have about 800 hit points. And whenever you're putting out approximately 60 damage a swing, throw in headshots and combo attack and whatever you have, they really aren't that hard to beat. Here we find a pretty bad short sword. It was nothing crazy. I've never used a short sword. You can't equip it in your right hand, so I'm just not worried about it. I'd rather have a shield. If not a shield, I'll just take a long sword. I only use, whatever bow I have. Typically, I like the crossbow. Just one quick shot and then engage in melee combat. Or if I don't have a crossbow, uh, just whatever bow will do. I'm not too picky about it. But aside from that, I only use the longsword, the falchion, which is my favorite, and the arming sword, which is my favorite in real life. So, not a whole lot of range there, but I've also never tried the dual-wielding fighter. That is what it is. Next playtest, well, there shouldn't be a next playtest. It should move into early access. But I'll probably try out more different types of builds. Typically, I default to as tanky as possible. So getting back to the actual gameplay here, there's a lot of goblins in this area, and I really need to get past these goblins to be able to activate the portal and get out. Most of the players are already dead, and in general, the way that I view the dungeons is that as soon as you're in the dungeon, all of your gear is already forfeited, okay? And we'll come back to that thought in just one second. But I headshot that goblin, and I see that he's low, and I'm able to put him down with that one throwing knife. And then seeing that cleric over there, he was already buffed, and it looked like he was pretty geared. I couldn't tell. He didn't have a helmet, but I don't know clerics too well. So weighing the options, I'd rather not engage. Because, like I was saying, whenever you enter the dungeon, all of your gear is already forfeit, and so it's better to just take your escape as soon as possible, in my opinion. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.